feel a little crazy drinking a Celsius right now, honestly, but I don't care. This is orange. I don't need this. I don't need this Celsius, but I want something to drink that's not water. I want coffee so bad. And my stomach felt like it was on fire earlier. Anyway, we should talk about my favorite books of... This is such a random video. I'm like sitting here editing my Hunger Games video, and I'm like, wait, we should talk about my favorite books from the first... Excusez-moi. From the first quarter of the year. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the first books, my favorites, because I finally got back into reading this year. And let's see, what have I been reading? I switched over to Storygraph, and let's look at what I've read. Apparently I've read 17 books so far, which is really good. January. What did I read in January? I read 5 books. My moods were reflective, dark, hopeful, mysterious, inspiring, and funny. More print than digital in January, interesting. And my average rating was 3.63. Okay, it says I read 5 books, 1,465 pages. My highest rated books are Such Sharp Teeth, The Hunger, and This Is Me Letting You Go. So yeah, my favorite book for January was definitely Such Sharp Teeth. That was my first Rachel Harrison book, and I'm kind of like in love with Rachel Harrison now. That one's about a girl who's turning into a werewolf. And let's be honest, it's not really about a girl who's turning into a werewolf. I mean, she is, but it's also about women and their bodies and trauma on the body. And I don't know, it was really good, really funny. There was like a small little bit of romance, but I thought it was really, really excellent. And then after that, I read Black Sheep. So I'm kind of on this like Rachel Harrison kick now. And then I also read The Hunger, which I also really liked that. I read that when I stayed at the hotel, and all my footage for that is gone. So never got any hotel footage. But let's see for February. I like that it generates the stats for you. And I'll put them here because that was really, really helpful. In February, I read 8 books. Wow. That's the most I've read in a month in a long time. 3,050 pages, average rating 3.32. My highest rated books were The Favorite. Yes, I loved The Favorite. In February, I finished the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, which I still thought was kind of meh. Favorite books from that month, I would say The Favorite by Lynn Fargo. I liked the drama of that. It read really fast too. That was about the 2 ice skaters. I feel like everybody was reading that book, and it did not disappoint. I very much liked it. And then I also read Black Sheep. That was one of my favorites from the month. That's the other Rachel Harrison book where this girl has to go home because I'm trying to remember, she has to go home. Either someone passed away in her family or she has to go home for a bit. And her family, they are religious fanatics, I would say. But the religion that they practice is something that you wouldn't expect. And that's why I don't want to give anything away, because I didn't know that going in. And so I definitely want to not spoil anything of that nature for that, if you want to read that book, because Black Sheep is actually really good. But those are my 2 favorites. I would say I read Mickey 7. I liked it. I think, yeah, The Favorites and Black Sheep were my top books. And then March, we just ended March. I only read 4 books. That's kind of crazy. Damn, what happened in February where I was just like reading up a storm? But I read 4 books, 2,007 pages, average rating 3.94. I got my first 5 stars of the year in March, definitely. I ended up reading, wow, I only read 4 books. That's crazy. They were kind of big, I will say. So I read my first 5-star of the year, The 4 Winds by Kristen Hanna. That book is phenomenal. I think about it most days. And it's literally about this woman who goes out and she wants to like experience the world. She ends up sleeping with some boy, she gets pregnant, and that's kind of when her life begins in a way. And she goes to live with that boy's family, and they survive the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl. They migrate to California with her daughter and a son, and it is just about finding yourself, being yourself, finding kind of like a new beginning, survival, love, family, hope. It is one of the most beautiful books I've read, and oh man, Kristen Hanna, she got me. She got me with that one. I love that book, and now I'm like, I want to read more books about the Dust Bowl, and I want to read more books by Kristen Hanna. And then, of course, I read Sunrise on the Reaping. There was no way I was going to leave March without reading Sunrise on the Reaping. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. I'm actually editing the vlog for that right now, but I have more to say about the book, but spoiler alert, I loved it. Like, I am just, when you love like a series, like part of it, at least for me, is I just love being in that world. And that's kind of how I feel about, like, yes, Harry Potter and like even Game of Thrones. Like, I just like being in that world, which is why I also like watching the show Game of Thrones, but I love being in that world. And that's how I feel about Hunger Games. I love being in the Hunger Games world. That brings me so much joy. So my favorites definitely for March were Sunrise on the Reaping and The Four Winds. 5 stars both. And it was exciting to get a 5-star because I did not think Four Winds was going to be a 5-star, but it was pretty phenomenal, honestly. I also read Hail Mary. I also thought that book was kind of boring. I don't know. I read it after Kristen Hanna's The Four Winds, and maybe it's like such a stark change from The Four Winds, but I don't know. I know people love that book, but it was just not for me. That concludes the first quarter. I would say the first quarter of this year was really good because I was my goal this year is to fall back in love with reading, and I would say I accomplished that. And now I'm just like feral. I just want to read everything, and I have so many things that I want to read, and I'm so excited about just to sit and read. And that was a real task for me last year. So I'm excited, but this was like a short and sweet video, a video of my reactions more to like The Four Winds, Sunrise on the Reaping. I already put even Hail Mary, like I have a video for that, and so I'm like working on those. So if you want more reactions to those books, I'll have more reactions to those in the videos. And that was the wrap up for Q1. Short and sweet. That's all I wanted to do. Short and sweet wrap up. I'm not going to do a monthly wrap up of stuff. I'm just going to do quarters. I think that's what I want to do for my channel. So every 3 months you will get a wrap up. And if you made it this far, thank you as always. And I don't know, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff that you do. And also please excuse the background. It's a little bit crazy right now. My life is a little bit crazy right now, so just excuse the background. But until next time, bye.